So this video is the day after the hurricane, Hurricane Dorian in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I'm starting at the same spot that I did the other day, and I'm going to drive down Ocean Blvd so that you can see the exact same thing as you take the whole tour, and then you can see the before and after. The before video was when they had evacuated. So basically on the ocean front, they do this as a precaution all the time whenever there's a storm. And the hurricane, to see the difference, we're going to drive down Ocean Blvd and see what any kind of damages, hurricane damages that happen. Now here it looks like, I'm just looking, there's a pole that's over or leaning, so they blocked off the road to make sure that nobody gets hurt. So that's what they're working on here. So we're actually going to, instead of starting at 77th Avenue North like we intended to, we're going to try the next block down so you can see and compare the one video that we did the day before with this video, and you can see the difference. So we're going to go all the way down Ocean Blvd. All right, so we're going to start on the other end of this so you can see where we are. Now on the way here, driving down Ocean Blvd, I did see a couple of trees that were down. I saw tree limbs and branches. Not really any extensive damage on the way over here. So we're going to see what happened here on the boulevard as we drive it. We've got power companies and other things. I did think that some people did have a power outage. Most of that is back up, and now this is the morning after the hurricane hit. We're driving down Ocean Blvd in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and as you can see, there's some palm fronds on the sides of the roads and that sort of thing. Looks like people are getting back to their routines. I do see some fire and restoration water damage companies there in the middle of the road, so obviously maybe some wind-driven rain into some places, and that's what they're working on. But on the way over here, didn't see any kind of real, I did see flooding here, so I'm turning around, so I just want to show you that. Everybody wants to see what flooding looks like, but obviously here we go. There's some flooding at the end of the street. And it's a low area, obviously, and it doesn't have the way to get back out, so that's what happens. It'll probably sit there and they'll get a pump on it and pump that back out. So we're going to go back down the road here. Okay, so we're headed south on Ocean Blvd in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, to see the damage after Hurricane Dorian. Some people were calling it Dorian. Just depends on what you feel like calling it, but I think it's Dorian. Like I say, more branches down, some leaves, that sort of thing so far. I do know that the main damage that happened here in Myrtle Beach happened in North Myrtle, because the low-lying areas, they always flood. They tend to flood, and when we sell a house here, if you've watched my videos, we talk about this all the time, but we don't like to sell houses in low-lying areas to our clients. I know people do go there and go to buy those places, but if you're dealing with us, we won't try to sell you one of those. Low-lying areas are going to flood, and guess what? They're going to flood again. So you want to just stay away from those areas. This area of the beach sets up a little higher, so you notice that there's not any major puddling. And if you notice these roads as you drive down, people ask, what's the best areas and that sort of thing. If you notice the road, how it goes up and down, dips up and down, there are actually parts of Myrtle Beach that are elevated and not necessarily even in a flood zone. People think, oh, everything's underwater and all that stuff. It's not true. That's why I'm driving down this Ocean Blvd to show you the reality, the truth. Because if you watch the Weather Channel like I did, oh my gosh, you would think. Now I was here when it was actually happening, if you watch the Weather Channel, you would think that it was doom and gloom and the end of the world. I just think that's they like to sell the news, to sell the advertising, but you know, that's about it. They like to sell things. So at the end of this video, we're going to go down to the beach. So I'm going to show you, you know, people talk about beach erosion, that sort of thing. So I'm going to end up on the south end of the beach. I'm going to show you the beach erosion. But on the way down here, at least we're going to see if there's any damage, comparing the before video that I did the other day to the video now, just to see if there is anything that we can see. But the biggest thing I think that made the news here was, check this out. Somebody with a Jeep, a newer Jeep, went on the beach. You know, there was these bands of rain that came over, and you know, we got a lot of rain. What's a hurricane like? You know, it's a windy, rainy day. So we got a lot of rain. There was this band of rain, and it stopped for a while, and so it was still windy, but it wasn't rainy. This person actually got in their fairly new Jeep, probably a year or two old, maybe even new, I don't know. And they decided they wanted to check it out. It's got four-wheel drive. We'll go drive it out on the beach. So they went down one of the streets where you can go, you know, the access, took it out on the beach, and sure enough, got stuck. Well, guess what? In the tide came in, they abandoned the vehicle. They got out, so nobody was hurt, obviously. But they ended up losing the Jeep because it went back out into the ocean. So that was the big news here, as far as what I saw. The other thing was the tornadoes. We did have some tornadoes that touched down in North Myrtle, and a ton of them up in North Carolina. And that was when the hurricane came in, and I know there were some mobile home parks and such, and the trailer campgrounds actually that had gotten damaged from that. So we're driving down Ocean Blvd here. I did this same tour the other day before the storm, when there was nobody on the road, and it was kind of a ghost town. Myrtle Beach turns into a ghost town after they evacuated the ocean front. They didn't evacuate all of Myrtle Beach, just the ocean front as a precaution. They always do it. So the difference is, you know, if you've gone through a hurricane, a lot of people, if you didn't know the word, like in this was a hurricane, was out at sea, and it was a Category 2. We had wind gusts, you know, up to 70 miles an hour, and they were saying, you know, sustained. It had winds at, I don't know. You can't tell what's what, because I don't know if it's 54 miles an hour. They said they had wind gusts at 70 some, but whatever it was, didn't look like, to me, if you told me that it was just didn't tell me it was a hurricane, it was just a windy, rainy day, that's kind of what a hurricane, and when you go through a hurricane, what it's like. Because a lot of people ask, you know, or they're scared of hurricanes. Look, when they say evacuate, you evacuate. You know, in the United States here, on mainland, obviously, when people are in harm's way, they give plenty of notice, and you know, it's just not worth even hanging around for. Now, this one, obviously, they predicted that it was not going to make landfall here, and I think that's the difference, is when it comes in, that's what they're looking to get away from. So as we look down the road here, you can see there's leaves on the ground. It's Mother Nature's pruning our trees here. We're going south on Ocean Blvd. Now we're going through the residential area here, and we're going to come out into the more commercial area, which you may recognize some of these condos and hotels. And a lot of people will say, hey, I want to, here's a police officer in the middle of the road here, don't know what's going on. Let's see what's happening. Somebody's backing out of a road. Anyway, a lot of times people will want, let's see, there's something, they're just cleaning up here, it looks like. They've got some police officers, they're pushing sand. Oh, here's the Jeep. Okay, guys, I'm going to stop the video and we're going to go down there. you want to know what not to do, don't take your Jeep out on the beach, because you're not supposed to be on the beach, number one. And number two, if you get stuck, this is what happens. It is funny, right? Everybody wants a picture of the Jeep, I know. There's a Jeep, not out on the beach. So they just pulled it out. Obviously it was down at the beach. So let's go back down Ocean Boulevard. Okay, so we're back out on Ocean Boulevard, headed south again. We got the Jeep. And if you've seen these videos, you've seen that I talk about things, what not to do, things to stay away from, all the helpful things that if you're coming to Myrtle Beach or you're moving to Myrtle Beach, you know, what to look for, what to stay away from, these helpful videos. That's one of them. Don't take your Jeep out on the beach. Anyway, let me know if you guys comment below. Let me know what you think of my videos, or if you've seen them, or if you're subscribed. Let me know what your thoughts are. Hopefully they're helpful. And just make a comment below. Give me a thumbs up if you don't mind. We're driving down Ocean Boulevard here, keeping you up to date with what happened. This is after the Hurricane Dorian, so you can see what happened, any kind of damages that are. If you see your hotel that you've stayed at before, give it a shout out as we drive down the road here on Ocean Boulevard. I do see, you know, full steam ahead. This is one of the companies that's here. They're in a lot of these resorts. So what they're doing is they're probably taking assessments of where damages are. If they had any wind-driven rain or wet, you know, what they need to do. A lot of people will do the wet dry vac, or any kind of if there is any kind of thing, they want to get the water up quickly because of any kind of a mold. They don't want that. Again, the low-lying areas that tend to flood probably did. We didn't have a major storm surge or anything like someplace. Here's some more palm fronds. We did have a high tide, and but it looked like the dunes held, so it didn't look like there was any kind of a major issue there. So still not many people walking around. We do see services, the phone companies, the internet companies. I do know that during the storm, the fire department was called in one of the hotels, and it was a fire alarm that went off. And the deal with that is water got into the alarm system. There wasn't a fire. There's full steam ahead again. Again, they're up and down the Grand Strand today, and I'm sure they're all at work, hard at work. Here's some more palm fronds on the sides in the street. But anyway, the water and restoration guys are probably out, and people are out cleaning up, doing their yards where they had some branches down and that sort of thing. I'm gonna let this guy pass me. There you go. More cleanup. That's the city. The city's very good, I gotta tell you. They're really on it. As far as cleanup, they will, after any kind of a storm situation, they're all out. They're out in force, and they do a really good job here as far as preparation, cleanup after any kind of a storm. Like even before the storm, they were out trying to get the drains opened and such. Really haven't seen anything yet, other than some localized flooding, little small areas, pockets. There were stores that did board up prior to the storm, And I don't know if you know anything about storm shutters and such, but there's like these bolts that bolt into the frames of windows, and I have them on some of our properties, and they bolt in, and then you can take a piece of plywood and just slide it over top, and then take a wing nut and bolt it down. You can take them on and off very easily. Other people do this kind of a board up, where you just actually just nail, but those are wooden buildings. They actually just nail it in, or screw it in, I should say. And then you also have storm shutters that are like that roll down. And a lot of condos and have those in the more residential type condos. Some people have installed here sandbags. You know, people will put sandbags down to keep water out if it does. And I'll tell you what the sandbags actually do. Not necessarily, people think, okay, well, it's a sandbag in case the water gets up that high, which is true. But what it actually does is wind-driven rain. You know, the wind and water, it actually does get, you know, when you're hitting wind speeds, the water that's out there just gets blowing around. Now, they took down the nets for the volleyball over here, and really, again, talking about, you know, a ghost town, not really a whole lot of people around. It's early morning after the Hurricane Dorian, as some people have said. It did do damage. I knew the Bahamas really got nailed, and we are lucky that we didn't again. But I think that, again, preparation, people are afraid of these things. People should be. But I think that, you know, if you're getting out of harm's way, you're fine. And again, most of the buildings here in Myrtle Beach has been through, you know, hurricanes, but concrete and steel. And again, the construction on new construction buildings, we have a lot of clients that we've sold new homes to. I just inspected with, we did a walkthrough on a house, and you know, their tolerances of what a house has to withstand here is totally different than a house somewhere else. So, you know, they build them, and they've got all kinds of additional bolting and strapping and that sort of thing. Now, I'm not saying if you have a tornado, something's not going to happen, but you know, I don't think there's much that you can do about a tornado. Tornadoes happen just about everywhere. But I think what happens is you prepare as best you can, and again, there's insurance. There's another A&I restoration. They're going in. They've got the water vacs, so obviously wind-driven rain in some of the oceanfront condos, they're probably going to take the wet dry vac and suck up some of that water. So that's what they're working on. I've seen that around, and you guys have as well if you're watching this video all the way to this point. And so we're continuing down. If you see any condos that you've stayed in or condos that you recognize, go ahead and give it a shout out. Again, some board up. Not everybody boards up. Some people just let it go. Here's wicked tuna. I don't know if you can see that. The pier is all there. No damages to piers. No damages to any other things that I can see so far. As we go down the beach here, we'll continue to look. We're going to go into a lower area, and I want you to see this. If you can see, the road is gradually, from this video, gradually going downhill in this area. You'll notice that the buildings are all built up, you see? And there's a reason for that. The reason is as we go downhill here, this is a low area. You'll also notice that there's a park, a theme park, or an amusement park to the right, okay? And the reason that this is built in this area is you're not going to build any homes in this area or residences because it's in a low-lying area. If you see that we're still going downhill. Now it'll go uphill a little bit, okay? But what I want you to take a look at is the swash, okay? Now what is a swash? That means it's low-lying area, and right through there, well, let me just So this is what a swash is. You see the road here, and it's the theme park, right? But across the road, it dips down, and there's a water that goes back out to the ocean. Okay. So again, this is why they don't build residences. These condos are all up in the air, and you just have a guy who's riding go-karts. They're getting ready. I can assure you that probably people are going to be looking for entertainment today because they've been cooped up all day. So my guess is they're going to be probably open today. So we continue to drive down the road here in Myrtle after Hurricane Dorian, and we're looking to see the damage that we may see. We're also going to go down to the beach and do the ocean front at the very end of this video. Looks like most of this section of beach, now we're coming back up to a higher area. And again, I was telling you about the elevation in the beach. There's a lot of areas that are low. Now again, we're up higher, and I want you to notice again, as you're going down the road here, that it'll dip down again. You see how that truck ahead of us is going down. So a lot of people don't realize this. They think everything is flat here. It's not. And we're going down, and then it's going to go down even further. So there's areas of the beach that are set up higher, and there's areas of the beach that sit up lower. So when people say about flooding, you know, it's always the lower areas, obviously, that flood, and you know this. But you know, when our team is selling condos, we're always here. We're going downhill again, and we're going to continue to go downhill for a little way. When we sell condos, we always are talking about that. Now look, here's more palm fronds. There's a lot of palms in this area, so obviously it's Mother Nature doing her pruning job before somebody else has gotten to it. Here's new construction condos. Looks like they all did pretty well. No real plastic damages, no plastic off the building or anything like that. See if there's any further damages or anything down this way. You know, again, the roads go up and down. These were sand dunes at one time, and they're up and down, obviously, so not everything is equal. And then you also have to think about what's behind it. So it's not just the ocean water. A lot of times when things flood, the ocean front doesn't necessarily flood. It's further inland. It's where all the rain, if you get a lot of rain. And so again, those are things that we're always talking about with our clients and showing them flood zones, areas that do flood on a regular basis, what to stay away from. Also, that's why we guide people. I mean, people look at stuff on the internet and they think everything is equal, but it's not true. You know, you gotta compare everything, and make sure that you're making a smart decision. That's why I do these videos. If you guys are at this point in this video, give me a thumbs up if you've heard me say this before, or if you do enjoy these videos. But my goal is whoop, I saw some rips on a Mystic Sea. Okay, I gotta turn around. Here's A&I Restoration again. They are doing inspections, but Mystic Sea had a little bit of a rip on the side of their building. Not a big one. There it is. So big rip. Not bad. So we're going further south on Ocean Boulevard here in Myrtle Beach to look at any damage that we may notice or see. People are out walking their dogs. Not many people here today, but I think probably later this afternoon, as people start getting up, and they'll be taking a look around, seeing what they can see, like we're doing. You guys are first at it, so you get to see this. I do see people that are starting to come to work, starting to get their inspections on, see what or if there's any damages or water intrusion or that sort of thing. So as I say, we're going to take the same tour that we took the other day. If you compare this video with the video the day before, you'll see that there's probably not a whole lot of difference. We came away from this storm lightly, without any major issues. You know, we're going to have a storm. Storms will happen all the time. if you do your research, you'll notice that there's areas that get a lot more hurricanes than Myrtle Beach. You know, North Carolina, it sticks out. I know they get hit a lot. Florida gets hit a lot. Texas gets hit a lot. So if you look and you do your research, it's not South Carolina, Myrtle Beach that gets hit. There's a lot of other areas that are the top hurricane places. So, all right, so I am now going to turn around and we're going to go out on the beach and see what we can see. In a lot of hotels and condos, they'll pump out, like this is a pump. It's pumping water out of a garage, maybe in a low-lying area. So then you'll see this kind of stuff, which is just water going back out into the drains. And again, you'll see the palm fronds that are around and that sort of thing. So we're going to walk down to the beach just like everybody else is here. So low-lying areas, again, a little water into areas, and I think that was just coming in from the rain, because we had a good, I don't know, 9-10 inches of rain. So we're going out to the beach here, and you'll notice it's a beautiful day here after the storm, but you'll notice that the dunes are all still here. There's, you know, just water going back out. Beautiful wide beaches here. Looks like it could be low tide. Doesn't look like anything damage wise, but I mean, again, they're doing their inspections as well to see what they can fix or not. It's another gorgeous day here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and share this with somebody you know who can use it. And we'll see you in the next video. Hope you're having a great day.